Donald Trump just threatened to crush the European economy unless they hand over the keys to the Arctic, and Germany's chancellor is calling it literal blackmail. This is not a real estate negotiation. This is the most aggressive American foreign policy move since the Cold War, and it directly impacts the price of everything you own. The media thinks this is a diplomatic gaffe, but I have tracked the mineral deposits, and what is actually happening is a desperate race to stop China from winning the future. Here is the map they do not want you to see. We need to strip away the noise and look at the raw mechanics of what just happened. You have likely heard the headlines. The President of the United States is once again eyeing Greenland, and he is using the threat of massive tariffs to force Europe to the table. Friedrich Merz, the German Chancellor, just went on the record calling this blackmail. He says Europe is ready to counter. He says they will not be bullied. It sounds like a standard diplomatic spat, leaders posturing for the cameras. But if you think this is just about politics, you are missing the tectonic shift happening beneath the surface. This is not about diplomatic feelings. This is about physics. Greenland is not just a block of ice. It is the geographic cork in the bottle of the North Atlantic. If you control Greenland, you control the GIUK gap, the specific stretch of ocean that the Russian Navy must pass through to reach the Atlantic and threaten the American East Coast. For 70 years, NATO held that line, but NATO is a committee. Committees are slow. Donald Trump does not want a committee. He wants a fortress. But there is a deeper layer, one that makes the generals in the Pentagon sweat at night. It is not just about where the island is, it's about what is buried underneath it. We are moving into a world where data is the new oil and rare earth minerals are the new steel. To build an F-35 fighter jet, to build the guidance system of a cruise missile, to build the battery in your electric car, you need specific elements: neodymium, dysprosium, terbium. Right now, the United States is completely, humiliatingly dependent on China for these processed minerals. We rely on our biggest adversary to build the weapons we would use to fight them. It is a strategic suicide pact. Greenland is the escape hatch. It holds one of the largest undeveloped deposits of rare earth minerals on the planet. The US government knows this. The Chinese government knows this. Beijing has been trying to buy land in Greenland for a decade, calling it the Polar Silk Road. So, when Trump threatens tariffs on German cars unless they play ball on Greenland, he is not trying to buy a golf course. He is trying to secure the supply chain for the next 50 years of American military dominance. He is telling Europe that their sovereignty matters less than American survival. But this is where the narrative pivots. You might think this is just the US throwing its weight around, a superpower acting like a superpower. But look closer at the reaction from Berlin. Chancellor Merz is in a terrifying position. He's a conservative. He was elected to fix the German economy. He wants to be pro-American, but he is looking at a trap that has no exit. Germany built its entire economic model on two things: cheap energy from Russia and selling high-end cars to America and China. The cheap energy is gone. The pipelines were blown up. Now Trump is threatening to cut off the American consumer market. If the US slaps a 20% tariff on German goods, the German industrial base collapses. It's that simple. Their profit margins are razor thin. They cannot survive a trade war with the United States. So Merz is using tough language. He talks about countermeasures. He talks about European unity. But frankly, that's a bluff, and the White House knows it. Let's look at the leverage. What can Europe actually do? Retaliate? Against who? The United States is the least trade-dependent major economy in the world. Our economy runs on internal consumption. If Germany stops sending us cars, we drive Fords. If we stop sending Germany natural gas, their lights go out and their factories freeze. We are watching a hostile takeover of the Western alliance. The United States is effectively saying that the old deal is dead. The old deal was we provide your security and you get to run a trade surplus against us. That is over. The new deal is we provide your security, but we take your resources and we dictate your foreign policy. It's a transition from alliance to empire. And for the average American, this is where the rubber meets the road. You might be asking why you should care if the German chancellor feels blackmailed. Here's why. The stability of the US dollar and the safety of your retirement account rests on the perception of American power. If China secures those mines mines in Greenland, they lock the US out of the 21st century. They win the tech war without firing a shot. Your electronics get more expensive. Your military gets weaker. The dollar loses its status as the reserve currency because we no longer control the critical inputs of the global economy. Trump is betting that he can force Europe to fold before the global markets panic. He is betting that Germany needs us more than they need their pride. But there is a danger here that the data warns us about. A cornered animal bites. If the US pushes too hard, if we humiliate Germany too publicly, we break the political will that holds NATO together. Merz is under pressure from his own voters. If he looks weak, he loses his mandate. If Europe decides that the US is no longer a partner, but a predator, they might start looking for other options. They might look east. It sounds impossible, but history is full of alliances that shattered because the stronger partners squeezed too hard. The next 6 months are going to be the most dangerous period in Atlantic relations since 1945. We're going to see tariffs, we're going to see threats, we might even see the US move naval assets into the Arctic to physically block Chinese access. This is a game of chicken played with aircraft carriers and national economies. Europe is trying to buy time. They are hoping this is just a negotiation tactic. They are hoping they can offer a few trade concessions and make the Greenland issue go away. But they are misreading the room. This isn't about the trade deficit anymore. This is about the fact that the Arctic ice is melting, and the ocean that opens up there is the most valuable real estate on Earth. The United States has decided it will not share it, not with China, and apparently not even with Europe. So, watch Berlin. Watch how Merz reacts when the first round of tariffs actually hits. Does he fold or does he retaliate? If he retaliates, the cost of goods in Walmart goes up, the stock market takes a hit, the global supply chain fractures. But if he folds, the United States consolidates control over the entire North American continent, from the Panama Canal to the North Pole. We are watching the map change in real time. The lines are being redrawn, and for the first time in a long time, America is drawing it with a Sharpie and dared the rest of the world to erase it. The question you have to ask yourself is not whether this is fair. In geopolitics, nothing is fair. The question is the Atlantic Alliance strong enough to survive a hostile takeover by its own leader? Or are we watching the end of the West and the beginning of something much, much colder?